Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Jay.
All right, Jim, so let's touch on the Twins who won 3-2 yesterday against the Texas Rangers. Kind of a crazy play that turned into a triple, then a run scored on an error for Kyle Farmer that tied the game, and then the Twins go ahead with a run in the ninth inning. Your thoughts on last night's win?
Yeah, Farmer had a Little League home run. It was hilarious to see. He's an older guy. He's not the fastest guy in the world. He just kept on running. That was fun, but the key to the game, that was obviously important in a low-scoring, tight game. The quality of the bats they put together against Wayne Kirby in the ninth, just fantastic. Wallner ends up drawing a walk. Kirby is really nasty against right-handed hitters, and Margot finds a way to draw a walk. Wild pitch moves Wallner to third, and then Santana with a kind of an epic at bat, almost hit a 3-run homer down the right field line. Gets deep in the count, and then lifts a long sacrifice fly to right that they don't have any chance to turn Wallner out on. Just exceptional at bats. Great work by the bullpen. Jax, Alcala, Duran, Ober gave up a couple runs early, then hung in there and kept them in the game. Really, really exactly the kind of gritty performance you want to see from a contending team this time of year.
Why has Texas been so bad? They're 10 games under 500. What's happened to them?
Mostly bad pitching as a result of pitching injuries. They just haven't had their starting pitchers healthy. It's really that simple. They also haven't been as good offensively as expected and as they were last year when they looked really fearsome. Corey Seager has gotten really hot lately. He was not having a great year until lately. They just haven't been very good. Maybe it's a championship hangover, but a lot of it's been starting pitching injuries.
What do you think about the Twins' rotation right now with all the injuries they've been fighting?
It's weird. Ober's been fantastic. There's now word that Joe Ryan might be back earlier than expected. Of course, that update keeps changing day by day. Who knows? But be very important for them to get him back before the end of the season, if that is possible. Zebby Matthews looked really good in his first start. Festa has the stuff if he can hold it together. Varland hasn't been great, but he kind of at least keeps you in the game. And they need more and more out of Pablo Lopez as this goes on.
So what is the pecking order right now? Is Lopez is one, we'd think. We don't know about Ryan's health, whether or not he can come back. Ober's been consistent. Simeon Woods-Richardson, who's pitching tonight, has been a staple in the rotation for a while. Festa, I would guess, and then would Matthews be the fifth guy at this point?
Yeah, and Varland's still on the outside looking in unless he does more. Of course, pecking order doesn't matter at all, except to fans. Pecking order means nothing until you get to the playoffs. Obviously Lopez is number one. Right now, Ober's number two. When Ryan's healthy, he's either 2 or 3. And then I would think, based on what they've done, that Simeon Woods-Richardson would be 4. And then, when Ryan is healthy, and then the question is Festa or Matthews your 5? And then, is Varland capable of moving up into the top 6? So that's kind of where they are right now. Of course, with young pitchers, this could change very quickly. The thing about young pitchers is they can be looking good. They have one outing, it can destroy their confidence. You got to get them out of there. So right now, that's the pecking order. It could change dramatically within a week.
Is Louis Varland a guy they consider for the bullpen still?
Doesn't look like it. It looks like I think Louis, in his attempt to be a starter, has lucked out in that they have had enough injuries that they've needed him to be a starter. Otherwise, he'd be buried in St. Paul, just having a bad year as a minor league starting pitcher. I think this team is at its best when they have enough starting pitching depth that he can be their, a late inning reliever. But obviously, we have not gone down that path yet. And they've had enough injuries with starting pitchers that they've needed him as depth. But I would rather see him in the bullpen.
So the Twins had to place Byron Buxton on the injured list again. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, all these injuries. It really is always day to day with Byron, and you just never know what injury is going to lead to a DL stint. What injury is going to be something he can work out over the next couple of days. It's just the way he's built. We have nothing new to say about it. It's just the way he's built.
Jim, as far as Carlos Correa, anything new on his health?
The foot is not good. It's just not good. And they're trying to, they want him to be fully comfortable and pain-free before he really starts playing in game situations, and it just hasn't happened yet. Could happen any day. He's been out long enough that he'd probably need a rehab assignment. Probably send him over to St. Paul for a couple of games until he felt fully comfortable. But it's a terrible sign that he has not been able to feel comfortable yet.
So the Twins, with all these injuries that they've been fighting, they're close to the Guardians, only 4 games back. How have they been doing this? Who do you give the credit for the team hanging in there?
Well, it really goes back to 2022, where they had a good team and the injuries just destroyed them. And I know people love to just blame the manager or the general manager, or whatever. They had so many injuries, you could not overcome it. And they just thought, okay, it's time to go, not just have organizational depth, but get really deep. Build up enough resources and depth that injuries can't take you off the board. And you've seen that, and part of it is minor league development. Part of it is having veteran role players who can play around a lot of different positions. Part of it is Rocco using people in a way where they end up being very versatile, where he has depth if somebody gets hurt. It's just kind of a re-emphasis on making sure that even a severe amount of injuries doesn't make you incapable of competing. Now, of course, there are limits. You can only have so many injuries before you're playing somebody from AAA who isn't good enough. But they've generally done that. And, you see Austin Martin can play a bunch of different positions. Willie Castro can play a bunch of different positions. Obviously Kyle Farmer can play around the infield. Jose Miranda can play the corner infield positions. Brooks Lee can play all over. So they've just kind of found a way. And a lot of it, too, is the fact that I do think this is a mentally tough team. I do think they've made some signs. Like Carlos Santana, you didn't know what you're going to get out of him, and he got off to a slow start. He's been one of their best players lately. So they seem to be bringing in the right kind of players as well.
Jim, the Minnesota Lynx come back from the Olympic break, and they ended up beating the Washington Mystics last night. Your thoughts on the Lynx?
Yeah, sluggish game. They pulled away in the fourth quarter. Collier and Williams made some big plays in the fourth quarter, especially Collier. Ugly game. Washington is healthier than they had been earlier, but they're still not a particularly good team. Just kind of ugly game. But now the Lynx are in third place in the WNBA, which is amazing. And obviously, if they can hold on to that third seed, then they probably end up with a fairly favorable matchup in the playoffs. It'll be tough, though. Seattle is pretty good, and they're right behind them. And you expect Vegas to make a move now.
Jim, the Vikings are going to play their second preseason game tomorrow afternoon at Cleveland. They got some injuries. Tell me about Jordan Addison and Blake Cashman and their status.
Actually, I didn't hear about the Blake Cashman injury, so I'm guessing it's not that serious. If I didn't see it or hear about it, I apologize for that. Addison sounds like not a terrible injury. My guess is he won't play in the preseason, but they think he's going to be ready for week 1. Also, the Browns really beat up the Vikings offense yesterday. Darnold had a bad day. I'm rather worried about the squad right now. You would like to see someone with Darnold's experience be able to function, and he just wasn't very good yesterday. Had trouble getting the ball to Justin Jefferson, had trouble playing against the Browns' number 1 defense. So, things aren't going great for that team right now.
So Blake Cashman's got a finger injury. It's going to keep him out of tomorrow's game. I don't see anything more than that, so maybe that's not too serious.
Okay.
So you brought up the quarterback situation. So McCarthy's out for the year. We know that with the meniscus tear and the surgery that has taken place. Are they looking for another quarterback, or are they going to stick with the 3 they have?
They have not said they're looking for another quarterback. We haven't seen any reports about them inquiring about other quarterbacks. It looks like they want to go with this group. The question is, how will they feel about that if this doesn't go well? I don't know. I'm not sure that, one of the conceits of sports talk is we can come up with solutions to problems for teams. There might not be a solution here. Sam Darnold might not be good enough. Nick Mullins might not be good enough. I don't think Jaron Hall's good enough. And guess what? Ryan Tannehill coming in cold late August probably wouldn't be good enough. So I'm not sure there's a solution out there. Kenny Pickett's the name that gets thrown around. He's having a terrible preseason. This might just be a bad season.
How about the cornerback position? How banged up are they?
I mean, I think they're a little banged up, but I don't see any serious injuries. And again, you're probably, they probably wanted to have a reasonable group out there tomorrow. They probably weren't going to play starters in the third preseason game unless maybe they wanted Darnold to get a little bit of time with the first team offense before they pulled him off. But really, they really feel like these joint practices are more valuable than preseason games. So they kind of got their best work in the last couple of days, at least they hope. I don't know. It's, Gilmore didn't sign. That's a bad sign when he leaves town, doesn't immediately sign afterward. Who knows what's going on there? So I don't know. It's just this team has a lot of problems.
Are they pursuing Gilmore still, or don't you know?
Don't know that for sure. I mean, they would listen. They would like to have him, but I don't know what his asking price is. And if his asking price was reasonable, they probably would have signed him by now.
So, Jim, you're feeling, it sounds pretty pessimistic about where this team is. It's just injury related, or is it talent that they have? What are your thoughts there?
I mean, how many teams win without a good quarterback?
Yeah, not many.
I mean, this team went 7-10 last year, and they might have worse quarterback play this year. Maybe the defense is better. I wouldn't, that's a possibility, but they're missing Danielle Hunter. Maybe the running game's better. It should be. But if your best player is Justin Jefferson and your quarterback isn't any good, I just don't see that's going to work out very well.
All right, Jim, what do you got in your podcast?
We have a lot of football talk. Jeff Diamond's Vikings NFL Insider. He actually took a shot at the Vikings for how they handled something dealing with McCarthy. Viking Update show is up. The John Krasinski show on Anthony Edwards and all the Olympic stuff and what's going on with the Timberwolves. We have Dawn of Sports up with WCCO sports reporter El Mose. We have Preps Today with John Millay up, and everything's at TalkNorth.com. We also have Randy Shaver's new high school football show, Kevin Gorg on hockey, Michael Russo on hockey, outdoor content. Everything's at TalkNorth.com or on your favorite podcast app.
All right, Jim, thank you. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you again on Monday.
Thanks, Jeff.
It's Jim Souhan, Star Tribune sports columnist, joining us every weekday morning at this time. Follow him on Twitter at SouhanStrib. Check out his latest column in the Star Tribune or his podcast at TalkNorth.com. Jim, once again today, brought to you by the Green Mill in downtown St. Cloud. News from ABC's next.